Many of you participated in the annual Bobby Fowler motorcycle ride. Bob was a giant in our industry and our association. Ron Nixon, Vice President of Building Codes for the National Multifamily Housing Council, has for many years been the steward and leader of the Fowler Foundation Scholarship Fund. Ron, please bring us up to date on the Fowler Foundation and this year's ride.
Thank you very much. I always appreciate the opportunity to come up and talk about the ride that we have annually. This was our 12th ride this year. On Saturday, we went north and got to see along the coastline, and then they took us up on the mountains, and we had the little curvy ride, which motorcycle people love. Sunday, we went south and did the same type of thing. I get the credit for putting this together, but I'm not really the one that does it. Each year, I find somebody local to set up the ride and do the ride and organize it, design the shirts and so forth. This year was John LaTorra, and I'm going to have him come up here for a few minutes and talk about the people that helped put this ride together this year. We will be contributing $4,000 plus to the Code of Honor, and hope for additional code officials to come to the meeting. So, John.
Thank you very much. I was very honored to participate. I'm really not local, about 400 and some miles north of here, but I do live in California near San Francisco. We want to thank our longtime organizer, Ron Nixon. The shirts were prepared by Dee Renfro. Our local fire marshal here, Richard Brandt, worked out a lot of the details, the routes. The ride leaders, we had 4 folks from this area: Addison Smith, James Zaccaro, Scott Vasikas, and Kevin Shear. My wife Karen and Joe Strasser helped organize the ride and followed behind us. The financial support, one of the first times folks have contributed other than the riders. Obviously the National Multi-Housing Council contributes every year. The East Bay, Monterey Bay, and Peninsula chapters of ICC contributed significant funds, along with my wife Karen and myself. I want to also thank the ICC for their support, particularly Jackie Kloss, Dominic Sims, and John Belsick. We also need to thank the riders. This is really a fundraiser, and we were able to raise $4,000 for the Code of Honor Scholarship. How many of you have met or worked with Bob Fowler? Okay. I want to say a few things. Because I had a special connection with Bob, and so this was very important to me. Bob was the chairman of the board of ICBO in 1994, and he convinced the presidents of BOCA and SBCCI to write a joint model plumbing code in 1994. I was honored to chair that 3-person committee, and later on the 7-person hearing committee, and we worked in light speed, and by August had finished our work and were ready to publish the Joint Model Plumbing Code. Bob went back to work and convinced the presidents, the boards, and the memberships of those 3 organizations to create an organization to publish the Joint Model Plumbing Code. And that organization is the International Code Council. We waited for the annual meetings from September to November. We then had to make important decisions like what size was the book going to be, and we were working 8.5 by 11 format. And then the long time decision was what color is the cover going to be. We chose green, and no offense, Tom Phillips, but I think these lights should be green. And let me just say that that was the first international code, and we went on to create now 15 codes and 1 organization, and I'm very proud to have been part of that. Bob, thank you. I also ride motorcycles, and Bob died in a motorcycle accident, and when he was chair of the board, he was from Abilene, Texas. When he died in the motorcycle accident, he was the building official for Pasadena, California, not very far from here. So We look forward to future years, and thank you so much for listening to some of our history. If you really want to know, here's a copy of an article that Bob and I wrote in 1994 to talk about the development of the Joint Model Plumbing Code, which really talks about the formation of the International Code Council. Thank you so much for your attendance.
Thank you, Ron and John, for organizing the annual motorcycle ride and your personal commitment to the Fowler Foundation. We appreciate it very much, and thanks to all who support the Fowler Foundation.